Kimraha Huladunya, Fauchagu, Ye Olde Scot, the Celtic podcast. On today's show, we'll introduce you to prepositional pronouns on, er, and ek, and give you a couple tips to help in comprehension in Feuchamaich Beagan Gaidhlig. Let's try a little Gaelic. We will continue our three-part series entitled Celts and Romans, the dramatic link of two great cultures, with the mysterious Estrusans in the Celtic history segment. We will tell the story of Diarmuid and Grainne and the secret of the dolmens in everyday Celtic ways. And today we'll hear music from William Coulter, Todd Denman, Barry Phillips, and Maureen McAlevey. Sorry, it's a Gaelic pronunciation. I'm not real good with some of that Irish stuff. Johnny McAvoy, the Blarney Brothers, and traditional Gaelic music from the Olde Scot. And as always, a wee bit of Irish trivia to test your knowledge to start us off. So how did St. Patrick first arrive to Ireland? And before we get started today, I want to tell you about a wonderful new website just for Gaelic learning. It's interactive, it's informative, it's fun, it has tons of resources right there at your fingertips. It's called learngaelic.net. You go on there, it's got beginners, intermediate, and advanced courses. It's awesome. I've been spending a ton of time on the site, and it's great. I've learned a lot, and I think the audio parts with it have helped in my pronunciations of the Gaelic. It's a great tool for you and for me in our Gaelic learning. Take advantage of it. I know I will. That was St. Patrick's Day, Over the Moor to Maggie's, from the Celtic Void CD with William Coulter, Todd Denman, Barry Phillips, and Maureen McKelvey. Ha and Tom and Feuchamaich Beagan Gaidhlig. And now it's time for Let's Try a Little Gaelic. Today we'll introduce you to the personal pronouns an, ac, and and we'll give you some tips on sentence structure and accent usage. And as always, I will display on screen what I am discussing. Tasik Shin, let's begin. Alright, I'm going to give you a tip right off the bat. And it's when you're writing in Gaelic, you using a standard keyboard, standard computer, and you want to have your Gaelic have the accents. That way you show the proper vowel usage. Hold down the central key with one finger and then hit the accent mark up in the upper left hand corner of your keyboard at the same time. Hold them down. Then when you let go, you press the appropriate vowel and it'll put that accent. Now you can show in your Gaelic, in your writing, the proper accent. So you'll know if it's a long vowel or a short vowel, like in the word bata or bada. Yeah, one's a walking stick, one's a boat. So that kind of matters. Now we're going to go to our next tip, and it's on sentence structure. And there's a guy on YouTube named Jason Bond, and he has a real good video on this. And he shows that the sentence structure is real simple. You have a verb, then you have a subject, and then you have everything else. So it's going to start ha, which is a verb, me, which is the subject, ski, which is everything else. So ha me ski, I'm tired. Ha column a dancing. He had ha is the verb, column is the subject, a dancing is everything else. Ha column a dancing. Column is dancing. And so on and so forth. I'll have about 8 examples of this up on the screen, and you can check it out. Now, we're going to dive right into our prepositional pronouns. And prepositions have congregated forms with personal pronouns. Use the graphs that I'll show you, and I'll put up on the screen, to find the correct prepositional pronoun for these 3. First one is ac, which means at or possession of, which means on, and aun, which means in or into or exist as. Okay? So if you notice on the chart, on the left-hand side, you have ac, and an, and you got the English counterpart. And this first one is the singular. The me, the you, the him, and the her. And if you go just doing the ac, which is the at me is akum, at you is akit, at him is eka, and at her is eka. Okay. Now let's move on to the which is on, and on me is orum, on you is orsht, on him is on her is ora. And then in, which is aun. And in me is anum, and you, anit, in him, aun, in her, incha, and so on. Now, the definite part of that, which would be in the, or at the, or on the, so akin Doris, akin unig, which is at the door, at the window, Erin rot, Erin strach, on the road, on the street, ounce of vu, ounce and tie, in the shop, in the house. See how that works. Alright, we're going to move on to the plural of these 3, and the first one is ak. So at us is akin, At you, plural, which is at y'all, plural, akav. At them, aka. On us is oran. At you is orav. At them is ora. And in aun, in us is aunen. In you, plural, is auniv. And in them, plural, is aunta. All right. Now, remember the sentence structure part we talked about just recently. When using that with a prepositional pronoun, it works the exact same way. Like, and I'll give you some examples on the screen. Avail Gaelic akav. Avail is the verb, Gaelic is the subject, akav is everything else. Ha Gaelic aka. Ha is the verb, subject is Gaelic, eka is everything else, and so on. Va and takris orum, ha and kadal ora. All right. And we have some new vocabulary words down here for us. Antakris is the hunger, and kadal the sleep. Hun is dog or dogs. A har is the car. A dole is going. A shine is singing. And a fucking is singing. And you got a lot of this with some vocabulary I gave you a few episodes ago. And as always, if you play around with this and make up some sentences, you'll have lots of fun. Hope you enjoyed Feuchamaich Beagan Gaidhlig today, and enjoy the music.
You ask me why I look so sad on this bright summer day, or why the tears are in my eyes and I seem so far away. Well, sit yourself beside me, love, and put your hand in mine, and I'll tell you of someone I loved long, long before your time. I'm sitting here and thinking of those days so long ago, when I was just a child like you and a girl I used to know. Through fields of green we laughed and played and sang our merry rhymes. Oh, summer days were warmer then, long, long before your time. Through childhood years our love did bloom, till our hearts were just as one, and we promised each eternal love in the church below the town. We settled in this little house I was proud to call her mine. Oh, we were young and happy then, long, long before your time. One lovely year was all we had until sickness came, that stole the roses from her cheeks. My tears, they fell like rain. For 9 long months she carried you, but in the end she died. She chose to go so you might live long, long before your time. So you ask me why I look so sad on this bright summer day. or why the tears are in my eyes and I seem so far away. It's just you seem a lot like her when your eyes look into mine, and you smile so much like she did long, long before your time. And you smile so much like she did long, long before your time.
Now that was Long Before Your Time by John McAvoy from the Legends of Irish Folk album. It's a pretty good album. Now, we're going to delve into the rich history of our Celtic past in our segment, Celtic History Break. Today's topic is a three-part series entitled Celts and Romans, the dramatic link between two great cultures. Part 2 today is the mysterious Etrusans. All right, let's get to it. The mysterious Etrusans. It is not known where the Etrusans came from before founding a civilization in what is now Italy, just north of where Rome would one day be built. The Latins would come to know the region as Etruria, now Tuscany and Umbria. The Etruscan civilization began in the 8th century BC, when Rome would have been a simple village if it existed at all. It reached its political peak in the 6th century when it became a great sea power and established colonies as far away as Spain. It declined in wealth and power in the 5th and 4th centuries, with their culture decaying and further weakening by their own civil wars. The Etrusans would eventually cease to be a political entity by 888 BC. These people remain a mystery, though, because their origin has never been established, and because scholars have been unable to relate Etruscan to any other language known on Earth. Their precise relationship to the Celts and other people will probably never be known. Their superb art, however, offers no mystery and is considered comparable to the best of the classical Greeks. Until about 500 BC, the Etrusans occupied much of Latium and ruled Rome itself. At that time, the Latins, now called Romans, overthrew their Etruscan overlords to subsequently establish the Roman Republic in 509 BC. With Rome as its center, this is generally considered to have been the date of the real founding of Rome, the city built on 7 hills. The founding of Rome thus took place after the development of the Celtic culture, or about 250 years after the establishment of the Celtic Mining and Training Center at Hallstatt. Then, as now, that former Celtic settlement in what is known as Austria lies separated by the Alps from the Mediterranean peoples. That during the 5th century BC, a wave of Celtic expansion from beyond the Alps brought a branch of the Celts to settle in northern Italy. This was a relatively peaceful migration resulting from a natural population increase. In Italy, they not only continued their existence as efficient and prosperous farmers, but founded the city of Mediolanum, later Milan. Polybus wrote of the Celts in Italy's Po Valley, describing their homesteads and neat fertile fields of wheat, barley, millet vines, and figs. After 400 BC, the Celts had so prospered and grown in number that some of them began to migrate further south, into Italy, in search of new land. With their fearsome long swords, they overcame Etruscan armies and overran Etruria as they moved southward. Ahead was the Etruscan city of Clusium, and beyond that was the city of Rome. Livy wrote that to the people of Clusium, it was a terrible situation as they received reports that Etruscan armies had been scattered. In desperation, the Etrusans sent for help from their enemy Rome. An uneasy Rome, they sent envoys to the Celts to negotiate peace. The Celts met them and demanded land on which to settle. What happened then is best described by Livy. When the last three envoys asked by what sort of justice they demanded land from its rightful owners, and what business Celts had to be in Etrusia, they received a haughty reply that all things belonged to the brave who carried the justice on the point of their swords. Passions were aroused and a fight began. It was then, Livy added, that the envoys took their fatal step. The fatal step of the envoys was not only in ignoring an international convention that prohibited them from participating in a fight, but one of them took advantage of his group's diplomatic status to actually kill a Celtic chief. Livy gives this reason, or gives it as the reason, for the Celts deciding to march on his beloved Rome in the year 390 BC. And that takes us into next time's, the last part on this three-part series, the Celts sack Rome.
Gentlemen, it is my duty to inform you of one beauty, though I'd ask of you a favor, not to seek her for a while. Though I own she is a creature of character and feature, no words can paint the picture of the queen of all Argyle. And if you could have seen her there, boys, if you had just been there, the sun was in her movement and the morning in her smile. All the roses in the garden would bow and ask a pardon, but not one could match the beauty of the queen of all Argyle. On the evening that I mentioned, I passed with light intention through a part of our dear country known for beauty and for style, being a place of noble thinkers, of scholars and great drinkers, but above them all for splendor shone the queen of all Argyle. And if you could have seen her there, boys, if you had just been there, the sun was in her movement and the morning in her smile. All the roses in the garden would bow and ask a pardon, for not one could match the beauty of the queen of all Argyle. Now, my lad, by need must leave you, my intention not to grieve you, nor indeed would I deceive you. I'll see you in a while, for I must find some way to gain her, to court her and retain her. I fear my heart's in danger from the queen of all Argyle. And if you could have seen her there, boys, if you had just been there, the swan was in her movement and the morning in her smile. All the roses in the garden would bow and ask a pardon, for not one could match the beauty of the queen of all Argyle. And if you could have seen her there, boys, if you had just been there, the swan was in her movement and the morning in her smile. All the roses in the garden would bow and ask a pardon, for not one could match the beauty of the queen of all Argyle.
That was the always brilliant Blarney Brothers with Queen of Argyle. That's great toe-tapping music right there. Now it's time for Everyday Celtic Ways, a look into how our Celtic heritage is still very much a part of our everyday lives. Today on Everyday Celtic Ways, we will tell the story of Diarmuid and Grainne and the legends of the dolmens. Traveling through Ireland, you'll see these beautiful stone configurations called dolmens, and they're pretty famous. A dolmen is two massive, long tables of limestone laid down parallel to each other, and a massive capstone overhead completes the shelter. This finishes up making what is called Diarmuid and Grainne, Diarmuid agus Grainne, and it's the bed of Diarmuid and Grainne. Now the legend tells us that Grainne was to marry Finn, the chief of the Fianna, the old Celtic band of warriors, but alas, her heart was chosen by another. Diarmuid. She fell in love with him and even threatened him with her magic if he did not elope with her. Now he respected the might of the Fianna, and especially that of Finn. However, her magic was powerful, which meant almost limitless possibilities. So the two of them eloped, having a druid marry them. When Finn found out, he had the Fianna chase them all over Ireland to kill Diarmuid and to bring back Grainne, while Finn stayed back just in case his betrothed had a change of heart and returned to him. Along their journey, they received help from friendly animals and advice from the wisest of the elders living in Ireland's countryside. They learned not to spend more than 2 nights in any one place. They were to travel by night and sleep during the day. And this is why Diarmuid built the dolmens, so that the sun would not keep them awake, and they would be protected from harm. Modern-day archaeologists say that these dolmens were burial places, and in fact some were. Diarmuid and Grainne, they would bury the recently dead from the towns along their travels in the dolmens in order to throw off the Fianna, keeping them busy digging and making Finn worry that the grave may be that of his dear Grainne. It is of a lovely image of the acts that sometimes accompanies true love. Love affects our common sense, our rationality, our inhibitions, and our respect and integrity. Like an adolescent, there is a new fire consuming your life. In a way, you are revitalized, a phoenix from the ashes of your former self. Without love, your soul is asleep. There is no passion. You are absent from living a full life. With love, you are consumed by passion. It is awakened within you. Your soul becomes young and free and dances again. Dolmens are scattered across Ireland, telling you that Diarmuid and Grainne were on the run from Finn for a very long time. But whatever came of the two lovers, who knows? Finn had to learn to live without his beloved Grainne, of course, which is probably what put such a distaste for romance in his heart. There are many legends about what happened to them, but the one that seems to fit the immensity of their love for one another the most is that such a great love, a great romance, a great man and a woman could not perish at the hands of the Fianna, for they would certainly search until the end of time if so ordered. Their legend ends with a new beginning. You see, their great love, drew the attention of Niamh, the golden-headed daughter of the king of the land of the youth, Tir She told her father, as she watched down upon Diarmuid and Grainne, that such a love must go on forever, and there is no other place that could happen except Tir which he agreed. Guardians were sent from the land of the youth along with Niamh, who rode up to the dolmen that the two lovers were sleeping in that day. Niamh called out to them and told them of her offer. Without a second thought, they were swept away upon the backs of heavenly horses and taken to the land where their love can flourish forever. The end. Isn't that a great story? Love triumphs. Da, 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 da. All right. Give you the answer to the trivia question for today. St. Patrick was first brought to Ireland by pirates, and he was sold as a slave. They captured him in England, so that makes St. Patrick, patron saint of Ireland, an Englishman. Isn't that funny? All right. I just want to remind you about the learngaelic.net website. It's a great website. If you are learning the Gaelic, that is a great place to get started, a great place to advance. It's got tons of resources. Check it out. You'll really like it. Well, that's it for today's show. I hope you liked it. I'm trying to keep it interesting, informative, and fun. For me, anytime you can infuse something Celtic into your day, that's a good day. Martian leave in Drosta. Bye for now. And before I leave you with the song, I want to let you know about, I made a 90-minute Celtic Christmas music compilation video. something you can play, have it playing in the background in your house during the holidays. Keep that Celtic spirit around. You're going to love it. Okay, it's a lot of it's instrumental. There's some Gaelic in there as well, but you'll like it. All right, I'm going to leave you with this song, Bry Uke, from the album Scot The Island.